Hello and welcome. You're watching Money 9. I'm Sakshi Batra. Well, there's absolutely nothing that is stopping the bulls as the Sensex and the Nifty continue to scale new record highs on an everyday basis. And on this show, I'm going to be discussing all about markets and investing with somebody who's spent Indian stock markets nearly 2.5 decades now and is also known to outperform the markets by despite spending a very less time sitting in front of the trading terminal. Joining in is Mr. Alok Jain. He's the founder of Weekend Investing, and he joins me on this edition of Market Masterclass. Welcome, Mr. Jain, on Money 9. It's a great pleasure to have you back with us and on this edition of Market Masterclass. Thank you so much for taking out time for us. And I'm sure all our viewers are really keen on understanding what are the secrets of your investing, how do you generate that alpha, and we'll talk all about it. But let me start off by asking you that, the stock markets have had a stupendous rally in the last 1.5 years, right after the 2020 March crash. It's been just a one-way up move, and that's despite the concerns of overvaluations, the rising retail participation, the heightened IPO activity. All kinds of red flags were raised, and now even the geopolitical tensions, the war. But there is nothing that is moving the markets at this point in time. What do you really make of the kind of market move that we've seen so far, and what is pushing this rally?
So thank you, Sakshi, for having me on this show, and I'm happy to be back here. The market rally has definitely been a phenomenal one that nobody could have anticipated or expected, one that has beaten all records in the history books regarding the gains in sort of one leg up. So this is a structural change that happened due to monetary policies, and this is not just an Indian phenomena. This has happened the world over, where people are forced to come to equities to seek any inflation beating avenue. Inflation has been going up, and the traditional instruments in which people have kept their money, there are hardly any returns there, especially in India, where the post-tax returns on fixed income, the real estate market has been reasonably dead for a long time, and so hence there is a forced participation in the market, which has fueled this. Where we can go on this further is anybody's guess. I mean, I really cannot forecast how long this can continue. It may drop dead today, or may not have a correction for the next 2 years. That is nobody to call that. But yes, I mean, the force of momentum and the force of the power of liquidity has been on demonstration in a big way this time.
Absolutely. Also, just to understand a little more how you have, invested in this last 1.5 years of the one-way move of the markets. What has been your stock picking and investment strategy over this time? Did you pick some themes? Did you stick with some sectors? Any specific, or did you stick with only stocks that had the inherent growth and strength, and you believed in those stories? How did you, invest in markets this time?
So, as you're aware, that I run an advisory called Weekend Investing, and our whole focus is towards identifying momentum in the market. So, our essential thesis is that we want to stay with strength. So, we will analyze stocks and have a non-discretionary approach that, let's say, within a basket of 50 stocks of Nifty or Nifty Next 50 or any other such universe, we will basically look for strength of momentum in this basket and apply the top ranking stocks from that basket to our portfolio in a very non-discretionary manner. So we are not looking at the economy. We are not looking for stock specific information besides the price and volume of a stock. So we are sort of following the BBC principle, as we call it, is the Bhav Bhagwan Che. So it essentially says that price is God, and everything else is already encompassed and integrated into the price. So as long as you are following the price, like the old saying, follow the money. So it's basically following the money where the liquidity is flowing, and that's where your allocation should be.
But help our viewers understand, what does it really signify, and what did you think of when you named this advisory of yours, Weekend Investing? Is it just related to investing during the weekends, or like very less time sitting in front of your terminal? What does it really name? What does the name suggest?
Yeah, so you almost got it there. So weekend investing basically means that we will look at the portfolio once a week, just before the weekend, and that's your sort of portfolio review, and you spend 5 minutes on it and you're done with it. So the
Wow.
idea is to cut out the noise that we see day in and day out, every minute in the market, and essentially go with longer term trends and not worry about daily noise in the market. So as long as you are even taking a weekly review of your portfolio, you should be all right in the long term. So minor dips and gains keep happening on a daily basis, but it is because of these minor noise movements that we get distracted from our longer term path. And
Mhm.
hence, if you are sticking to one review a week for 5 minutes, and then you have the entire week for yourself, to live your life really.
Okay, so you need not actually spend every minute of the markets right in front of your terminal. That's what he's saying, that, once a week is just enough, and you should be good enough if you're a long-term investor. So let's also talk more about how, you talked about the strategy that you have. I also want to take this forward, and ask you that most of our viewers constantly keep asking, which is the stock that could turn out to be a multi-bagger? And everybody is looking out for one in their portfolios in the long run. Is it possible to identify multi-baggers at all? And what is the strategy to do that, if at all?
So on multi-bagging, I would say it is definitely possible to get multi-baggers, but you cannot really call a multi-bagger in advance. So like in our momentum strategies, we know that if a portfolio of 30 stocks, we will get like 2, 3, 4, 5 multi-baggers in any bull run. But
Okay.
to say that this stock will be a multi-bagger, that is impossible. And if and there's a lot of mis-selling in the market where people are selling advisory saying that we'll pick multi-baggers, but you really cannot identify it. The market price is encompassing whatever is known about that company today. And by
Mm.
saying that that the stock will go multi-bagging means that you know more than the market, which I don't believe in. So from that perspective, as long as your strategy is right, you may get some multi-baggers out of it, but you really cannot forecast that.
Right. And in this last 1 year, 1.5 years, we've also seen this new trend emerging, just like how you pointed out, it's definitely broken all kind of history records. Also, in terms of the retail participation, the number of demat accounts that have opened, that actually suggests that, retail investors have been there out in the markets with that extra cash that was available with them. But so far, they have actually been blessed, because we've seen markets seeing a broad based buying, everything moving up, quality, non-quality as well. But it's just in the last 15 days, 1 month or so, we are seeing this trend emerging that weaker hands are perhaps getting thrown out, because we are seeing the markets of the benchmark indices scaling all-time highs, but it's just below that surface that we are seeing a lot of crash really happening and taking place too. So help us understand going forward from here. Would you say that retail investors should be as aggressive that they were before, or should they look to book profits now, be very selective about what they're choosing, pick value? What should they do now?
So my sense on this is that you should always be invested in the markets.
Mhm.
Don't try to time the market that you can get out now and get in again later on. Each person will have a very different approach to the market depending upon their situation. So like one size does not fit all approach will take place, where each person's psychology will also matter. How much of a risk taker you are, what kind of asset allocation you have done outside the market, what are your sort of personal reserves, what is the risk averseness that you have, so on and so forth. There are so many things that will create one person's approach to be very different from every other person's approach. And
Mm.
what we usually try to do is we try to club them together and say retail investors should do this, but that really is never a good solution. So you must assess where you stand in terms of your own investing and what kind of risks you have taken, and always be aware that a market like this, or any time in fact in the equity market, if in case your portfolio goes down by 50, 60%, will you have any sleepless nights? So if so, that is sort of the stress test that you keep needing to do, that do I need this money in the next 5 years, do I need this money in the next 2 years, those kind of tests if you do. And if you do need that money coming soon, or if you think that if you lose 20% you will have a tough time in your life, then yes, definitely book profits, book some profits at least.
Absolutely understood that. Also, I wanted to ask you that, now that millennials are really interested in markets, but most of them are also getting into the markets to make a quick buck. They want to say that, I want to become rich by investing in markets. What do you say to those people?
So there's nothing wrong in having a risk approach when
Hmm.
you are young. So as you have not much to lose really, and you have all the runway in your life to learn from your mistakes, and you will never learn without making mistakes. That is for sure. So my sense is that if you feel like you want to trade or speculate or do any kind of derivative strategies, please get it out of your system and do it to your best. The market will teach you a lesson sometime or the other, but that will be for your good. So one should explore all strategies what you want to do, and then over time you will come to know what is fitting your psychology, what is your sort of area of mojo where you will basically want your long term investing and trading to be in. So you need to sort of glide into that path on your own, and nobody really else can dictate that to you.
Yeah, okay, understood. Also, in this last 1.5 years, we've also seen a frenzy taking place, and that's in the primary markets. I mean, the kind of money that has been raised up until now in 2021 has perhaps surpassed again all the kind of records. About 50,000 odd crore rupees have been raised by these companies. About 30 or so have actually already raised these kind of funds. Are you investing in any of these recent IPOs? How are you looking at them? The concerns raised on the kind of valuations that they're commanding, say perhaps in Zomato. And is there merit for new investors to look here? Because the kind of retail participation over subscription levels tell us that everybody is hogging onto this kind of limelight.
So my sense on IPOs and this oversubscription is that first of all we don't subscribe or invest in IPOs. We allow the price action to take place 6 to 12 months before we will touch any stock. And then once the price action is telling us that you can go and buy the stock, only then we do that. But regardless of that, our situation, I think what people also need to understand is what is an IPO. There are very smart investors who invest in this company at an early stage. Let's say a VC or the promoters have invested, and now they're wanting more capital to for the company's growth, etc., or for some exits. And these are very smart folks coming to the market, and hence to think that they will leave a lot for you on the table so that you can make money out of it while they will sell it cheap to you. I mean that is something very naive to think about like that. So from that perspective, the valuation of an IPO is usually at the higher side, and of course in a bull market it can open 100% higher or whatever it may be, but one should definitely look at what is the fundamental cause at that point for you to take that kind of bet. But if you're just flipping on IPO like everybody else is doing these days, and even institutions are doing this these days, so I get from that perspective, that's fine, I guess.
Okay. And how are you looking at this new segment, digital internet companies that are like, making a beeline to enter the markets, these new models? And every day we are seeing some kind of innovation taking place. And we talked about Zomato, and we are just seeing how recently, a lot of innovation is taking place in delivering of the groceries. I remember you also tweeting about it as well, that, a 10-minute kind of a delivery of groceries at home. So this new space is actually very innovative. They are new models. Of course, there is the valuation aspect, but the kind of new segment that is creating in the economy, how are you looking at this space, and around that all the QSR chains that are coming up as well?
So definitely, I mean, it's a dramatic transformation that is happening. It's a very disruptive industry that comes in and disrupts the old players. It's definitely very innovative. It's customer centric. Everything is fantastic. But where is the money? I mean, where are the profits? So as long as you believe that in due course of time, over decades, they will be able to turn around and make money. So from that perspective, the basic fundamental theory of valuation falls flat. So it is basically more of momentum trade as we do it, and more of continuation of the sort of momentum in their growth, Because if you see the last many falls in the market, the dramatic falls, let's say the dot-com bust in year 2000, or the 2008, where we had infra stocks at dramatic valuations. So it does remind you of that, but of course there's nobody to say how long this can continue to go on.
Okay, understood that. Also, recently, like you said, that you chase the kind of liquidity flow and how the money is moving and momentum spending. Recently we are seeing again the focus is shifting back to the large caps. We are seeing every
Yes.
day headlines in the making that TCS is crossing 13 lakh crore rupees kind of a market cap. Is the highest ever for TCS. HDFC Bank, after a long haul of underperformance, is now seeing the ban getting lifted, things moving in favor again. How are you looking at the large cap vis-a-vis the mid cap and the small cap, which have so far been the outperformers? And in this space, how are you going to be moving going forward?
So I think most of these sub segments of the market, they all don't move together. So there's like a relay race that keeps happening, where you are having a large cap move right now, and small caps are taking a breather, or mid caps are taking a breather, and maybe at some point they will shift again. So that's how most bull markets move, from segment to segment, from sector to sector. And so the continuity remains. There's some action happening at all times,
Right.
whether it is in one space or the other.
Okay, understood. And lastly, I wanted to ask you before I let you go that, lots of experts have talked about, that this is just perhaps the beginning of the party on the markets. We are going to be seeing Sensex at even 2 lakh over the next 10 years or so. And there's no stopping the bulls, even though there'll be times when there'll be corrections, but then definitely the markets will continue to move higher. For all those new investors entering the markets now, which has already run up quite high, the best way to strategize and form a portfolio in today's time, what would you recommend to them?
So yes, definitely. I mean, if you're coming in now, it's a bit, the market has run up, and we of course don't know how far it can run up. So instead of waiting for the market to fall, you should definitely, start to wet your feet. Maybe invest 10, 20% or 25%, and just let it be for some time, until you create a buffer on that investment. So let's say you got 100 rupees and you invested 25, and now if that 25 becomes 40, then you can maybe invest another tranche, because now you have a buffer to fall back on, and everything does not fall down from day one. So that's how you can sort of step in to the market gradually in a sip manner, or whichever partial allocation at each step manner that you do. But yes, coming in with all your money into the market will be a harakiri at this stage. Yeah.
Okay, understood that. Well, points very well taken. Thank you very much, Mr. Jain. It's been a pleasure speaking with you and seeking all those insights. We hope to have you back so that we can discuss
Thank you.
much more about markets, because on one show we can't sum it up all for our viewers. So hope to have you back as well. Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure, as is always,
Sure.
to have you on Money Night. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
And with that, we wrap up this edition of Market Masterclass for you. We'll keep getting you such interesting conversations with all the market veterans and experts who are in there in the markets, who have seen all kinds of rallies taking place, and help you understand the best way to judge the markets and position your investments in equities as an asset class as well. Thank you very much for tuning in onto this one, and stay tuned for much more on markets and on personal finance on Money9.com.